Hi students. Today's lessons we're going to talk on science, and we're going to talk on a subject that's very common to all of us, even though we might not be aware of it, but we see it all around us. And what is that subject? It's called matter. And matter, it's beside you, over you, everywhere. We meet it on a daily basis. And how can we explain that? Well, let me tell you how we got this. Matter is something that takes up space and has weight. So can you think of things that take up space and has weight? There are many things. And we have those things that take up space and have weight. We have them in three different types or three different states. And the three states of matter or three types of matter, we have solids, which we can find them in books. Then we have liquids. We find it anywhere, juice, apple juice, water. And then we have gas. And gas, even though we might not see it, but we'll discover something else about it as we go along. But this is basically what we're going to be discussing today, okay, on matter. And like I said, we see it all around us. Sometimes we touch it, sometimes we don't, but we see it, and it makes a part of our life on an everyday basis. The other thing about it is that matter is made up of molecules. And in that sense, we can define how we can find that, because let me give you an example. And let me put, I brought this with today, not having anything else how to show it. But let's suppose that this dry erasers are molecules. Now, the more they're packed like that and they can't move, that's what makes up a solid. But when they're more separated, even though they're still packed, but they can move, and that makes a liquid. Now, when we have a gas, then basically they are moving freely all around and makes it invisible to see them. And that's why the gas is part of matter that we cannot see. Now, let's look at another thing that we can discover about matter. We said it was three different types: solid, liquid, and gas. Let's look at solids. What is a solid? A solid is a form of matter that has its own size and shape. And when we describe that, we can see it in a chair because it's there. It cannot bend, it can't do anything, but it's solid and it's right there. You can't move it. Scissors, even though we can move them, but still the scissors are there. You can't do anything with it. They're solid. And again, the molecules are tightly packed and don't move. And I put these dots right there like a square. And that's how tight they are. That's why you can see a chair and define that it's a chair, because it has its own form. It has its own size. It has its own shape. And that's why we know it's a solid. Now let's look at liquids. What is a liquid? A liquid is a form of matter that takes the shape of its container. So we have water. Well, we pour water into that glass, the water becomes part of the glass. If we put it into a bowl, it becomes part of the bowl. It takes the shape of the bowl. Let's say when we have glue. You all know what a bottle of glue is. Well, it's a liquid. It's inside, but it's taking the form of that bottle of glue. And the molecules are closely packed, but they can move freely. And I put it with some dots there, but they're still close. But they can move about a little bit. They have more space with it. And that's what defines the difference between a solid and a liquid. These ones are tightly packed, and these ones are packed, but they have space in between them. Now, a gas. What is a gas? A gas is a form of matter that has no shape and is hard to see. And right here I put like a pot with water in it, and when it's boiling, the steam is going up. We can see the steam, but once we cease to see it, we don't see it anymore because it evaporates. The air in the balloons. We know there's air in there because of how the balloons are shaped, but we cannot actually see the air in it. But we know there's something in there because the balloons have been filled up. And the molecules in there move freely and are invisible. And it's like I showed, and right here there's some dots, but you can barely see them because that's what we define as gas. So as you can see, by these pictures and by what I explained, matter is all around us. Anybody has a baseball bat? That's a solid matter. You drink water every day? That's a liquid. It's matter. You blow into something? That's matter. That's air. So we participate of it on a daily basis, and that's why we have to understand that matter is all around us, because we see it, we touch it, we feel it sometimes. And sometimes we also are part of it. Now, for today's lesson, and when we divide into the groups, I have here some lessons that I wanted to give to the students. And I have 3 pages. One has gas, one has solid, and one has liquid. Each student will get the 3 pages, and then I will give them all these pictures, which I will cut up and hand it out to them. And in those pictures we have scissors, flip-flops, lemon, a log, books, chair, couch, yam, crayons, ice, ketchup, squirt toy, bubbles, shoes, notebook, pen. And they'll cut them up. And what they have to do is they're going to have to sort them and put it in the page that it belongs to, whether it's a liquid, whether it's a solid, whether it's a gas, and they will have to sort it. And that's what one of the lessons will be. The other one will be a smaller one. On the next group, it's basically a page with the name, the date, and we have pictures here which they're gonna have to cut out, and then they're gonna have to cut and glue and glue them in the correct place, where it's solids, liquids, or gases. And this they will do in the second group. The other one is more of a hands-on, which I will give them some bottles where they'll fill with water, and afterwards we'll take it to the refrigerator that we have in there at the school, and then the next day they'll discover how it turned, from what matter turned from a liquid to a, and they will tell me what it turned to. And that's where it will be a hands-on experiment that they will be doing by themselves. And basically that's the lesson that we will have today on matter, which we will see and discover next day what the questions are and what they have discovered through the process. Thank you, students. Bye.